Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Jason. Hold on one second. Let me just close this thing here. My name is Jason, and I'm a channeler, and I'm here for Daily Dose of Hope, day 276. So you may be wondering to yourself, what is a Daily Dose of Hope? Daily Dose of Hope is just that in these times that we're in, it can be easy to kind of go into the yin or the yang, either side. But it's so important in these times to stay in the neutral place, the path in between the dark and the light, and be able to try to see everything as a story as it's playing out, rather than getting emotionally involved in it, which is very difficult. Hey, Kioni. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so we are approaching the new year. It's coming soon. I think energies are high. This is the holiday season. It's the season where things everything just gets all shook up. And I'm all shook up. So I wanted to share today. I've been, again, with this energy, I've been rereading The Course in Miracles again. But this time it's not. It's not a practice. It's just reading. Just the last half of the book, I think I understood, and that I read it after I understood. But the first half, it was still when it was just I had no idea what it was talking about, and so. But I'm just going through because there's so many gems, and I just want to read it because it's great stuff. And it's this one I wanted to read today is from. It's called "The Unbelievable Belief." It's from the beginning of the book. I think it's like chapter 7. And is there a yeah, and they're talking about projection and extension. Projection is what the ego does. Extension is what love does. Projection is, when you project something outside. Well, I'll read it and then we can talk. So here we go. Without projection, there can be no anger. But it is also true that without extension, there can be no love. These reflect a fundamental law of the mind, and therefore one that always operates. It is the law by which you create and were created. It is the law that unifies the kingdom and keeps it in the mind of God. To the ego, the law is perceived, as a means of getting rid of something it does not want. To the Holy Spirit, it is the fundamental law of sharing, by which you give what you value in order to keep it in your mind. To the Holy Spirit, it is the law of extension. To the ego, it is a law of deprivation. It therefore produces abundance or scarcity, depending on how you choose to apply it. This choice is up to you, but it is not up to you to decide whether or not you will utilize the law. Every mind must project or extend because that is how it lives, and every mind is life. So 2 choices, projecting or extending, fear or love. And let's see, I just want to, there's a little bit more about this. I think it's amazing stuff. I mean, so the ego's use of projection must be fully understood before the inevitable association between projection and anger can be finally undone. The ego always tries to preserve conflict. It is very ingenious in devising ways that seem to diminish conflict because it does not want you to find conflict so intolerable that you will insist on giving it up. The ego therefore tries to persuade you that it can free you of conflict, lest you give the ego up and free yourself. So the ego uses the power of the mind only to defeat the mind's real purpose. It projects conflict from your mind to other minds in an attempt to persuade you that you've gotten rid of the problem. And it goes on to say there's 2 problems with this. First, conflict cannot be projected because it cannot be shared. Only love can be shared. And the second is that you can, the idea that you can get rid of something you want by not giving it away. The second error is the idea that you can get rid of something you do not want by giving it away. Giving it is how you keep it. The belief that by seeing it outside of you, you have excluded it from within is a complete distortion of the power of extension. So there's so much more to that, but it's just such a beautiful line, such beautiful lines. And so the idea of projection, extension, love or fear, and projection assumes, right? We assume when we project something out, like for example, if we're the easiest way to describe it is gossiping. When someone's gossiping, they're doing it because they want to get rid of stress, and maybe they want to, create a community and oust someone from their community, basically to make them feel better. I'm better than that person, right? But by projecting that out, you think that you're getting rid of your stress, but you're actually just bringing more of it. So whatever it is that you project, or whatever you give, you keep more of it. You just make more of it. And so this is also that idea that what you want to create in the world, right? If you see, that's why, and that's another aspect. But what you want to create in the world, if you want to create something, if you're in the polarities, if you're in the sadness or the anger or the fear, in those two yin and yangs, it's impossible to create. Well, it's possible to create, but you will be controlled by your emotions. And so you won't be able to consciously create. You will be creating whatever it is that you're seeing around you, whatever the television or the media is telling you to do. Um, but if you want to truly create from your heart, create the life that you want to see, there. So, and this other idea about the ego trying to preserve conflict, but not, the ego doesn't want to make it too conflicted so that you'll just give it up and say, well, this is insane. Why would I do this? So it's got to be really subtle. And that's also such a great point, because it is so subtle in our world, the way that we're tricked into all of these different things. And before we know it, we're in anger, or we're in fear, or we're in sadness, and we're not even wondering how we got there, And so it's very cunning. And so that's why it's always important to be kind of vigilant with your, what you're feeling. What are you feeling at this moment? Where are you? Where's your mind, right? Where's my mind? I always tell this story about, there's a beatnik poet. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with him, but I used to really be a big fan of his. I mean, I still am. I mean, he's pretty cool. He was of the beatnik movement, which was the counterculture movement from the 50s and I guess early 60s. And it was, they're called the beatniks. And, they would listen to jazz and snap. They wouldn't clap their hands. And they're very cool. They wear all black and they wear berets. And Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac were two of the main big writers. And Allen Ginsberg was a poet. He was famous for this poem called Howl, which is it's a very cool poem. Despite, I mean, all the stuff that I kind of know about him and about that movement now, I still think it's an amazing power. It's a powerful statement. But anyway, when I was 17 or so, 16 or 17, he came to my small town back in the States, and I went to see him. So it's Philip Glass, the famous minimalist composer, pianist, that wrote a lot of film scores. Now is writing film scores now, but he was performing, and then Philip Glass was reading, and it was such an amazing show. And after the show, I was waiting outside with a friend, and because they had free wine and cheese, and I was, it's like free wine and cheese, but then, I think I had too much wine, so we had to wait for a while. It's kind of like, and so while we're waiting, everyone else left. It's a small town. There's no one around. And this car pulls up, and in the back, there's Allen Ginsberg and Philip Glass in the car. And I'm like, oh, and I'm just like waving at him. And then, so Allen Ginsberg gets out. He's got this big old beard, and he's just, scruffy. And he gets out, and he said, "What's your mind, boy?" And I was like, oh. And I was like, I don't know. And I said something, and he's like, "That's not good enough, boy." And then they drove off. So, what's your mind? Where's your mind, right? It's such an important question. Where's your mind? Wherever you are, whenever you are, whenever you start to feel a little bit like you're falling off the path, just question, where am I? Why am I feeling this? Where is this coming from? And that's all. Just being aware of it is so powerful. Because then when you're aware of it, you're aware of where it's coming from. So you can't be controlled by something if you know where it's coming from, because you understand it, and then you can intercept that. So, and especially in these times, first of all, these crazy times that we're in, 2024, but in addition, these seasonal times, the holiday times, when it's just like what do they call that? It's like a dry field that, just one tiny little match, it all just catches on fire. And that's kind of where we're at right now, on normal days. But then holidays, it's just right. So for those of us who are able to understand that, we can kind of hold the light. We can hold that. We can be the lighthouse. We cannot be the one that, blows up. We can try to, instead of blowing up, we can try to just blow up the light, shine the light. So anyway, that was what I wanted to talk about today. And so I'm gonna go into a channeling, and yeah, see what they have to say for today. Okay, so here we go. And today is December 28th, 2024. It's 9:33 at night. Just a few more days until 2025. TT Tracy, you say Philip Glass, an acquired taste. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, acquired taste. Yeah, not my cup of tea, as Grandma said. Yeah, like me as a composer, I really was influenced and inspired by a lot of his music. Um, so it's kind of a difficult relationship, you might say. But I really appreciate all of the doors that he opened up. How would you say that? The doors of perception, kind of the way, like my own perception, the way that he wrote music, and the way that he, maybe, whether or not you like it or not, but it really is something to take a look at. It's interesting stuff. I really learned a lot from his music. I don't listen to it very often. I mean, I've seen some of his operas, and I've listened to most of his music, but yeah. I think there was a time, maybe when I was younger. I think back in my teens, I was kind of really much more into it. But yeah, Philip Glass and Steve Reich is another one, minimalist composers. But yeah, I mean, to tell the truth, recently I don't really listen to a lot of music these days. I'm just to study, just if I'm writing a piece, to get some inspiration from different composers. But the only composer that I listen to all the time, though, is Bach. I always listen to Bach. He just never ceases to amaze me. But I find myself too sometimes with Bach's music. I mean, there's just so much information in it that, I was taking a walk once. I think I'm blabbing on. I'll finish with this real quick. There's a piece that he wrote. It's called "The Art of the Fugue," and it's just this one motif, this one theme that he wrote, this one theme, and he created really, really complex music out of this theme. And he showed you it was like a story. This is the one character, and then he takes that character into many different places, and it's really, really complex, and it blows your mind. I mean, I was walking one winter afternoon. I was just like spending like a half an hour just like walking, and it was, at the beginning, I was just like, oh my god, this is so amazing, and by the end of it, it's just like, I think I'm going crazy, because it's just too much. It's like you see the whole universe or something. It's too much. That's what Bach's music's like for me. Anyway, anywho, I'm gonna go into a channeling. I'm sorry. Yeah, and we're gonna ask, what do they have anything to add about this idea of projection and extension, and any other advice or anything that they'd like to talk about. Here we go. Yeah, we're here. We are Esmerelda, and we're here, and we're here, and we're here, and we're very happy to be here with all of you. We are what you would call a mermaid, and we are here with you. But we don't exist on this plane, the same exact plane. We do exist on a plane that is a bit higher than the third dimensional plane, but in that sense, it is the same place. Place-wise, it's the same. Dimensionally wise, it's different, and so that we do exist very close to you in that sense, but very far away in another sense as well, depending on your perspective and depending on how open your eyes are to see, how much you can see outside of your own paradigm. And seeing outside of your own paradigm is the key. Seeing outside of your paradigm is the key to moving into new directions. Once you're able to step outside of the you that is you, and to look at the you that is the capital U with a capital Y, and understanding that you are everyone and everyone is you, then you tend to understand a bit more where you stand, and you can affect more things in this reality. You can create more in this reality. And isn't creation what you all come here to do? Isn't that what you come here to do? To create your dream world, to create the world that you would love to see. But there are so many things standing in your way, and that is the challenge. That is the amazing challenge of this time. Many have said that you come here for experiences, and that is true in one aspect, but you also come down here to test your strength, to test your ability within all of these things that are standing in between you and what you would like to do, to see if you would be able to understand that they don't exist there. And that is one of the things that you are attempting to master here. Once you master that idea, then you've mastered this dimension, and there's no need for you to ever come back to this dimension, because you understand how to work within this dimension that can seem quite thick at times, like you're moving in honey, like you're moving in syrup. It's so sticky, and movement is so slow, and things that you would like to do seem so hard to do, and there are so many obstacles. If you are able to create in this world, create the dream life that you would like to create in this world. And when we say dream life, we mean free dream life. We don't mean a life where you give up and sacrifice. No, 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 no. A dream life is a life where you're living your dreams. You're not sacrificing, you're living. And this is the idea of extending. You are not projecting out. You are not attacking. You are not saying that this person is below or above you. That way of thinking is not creation. That is destruction. What we are talking about is the idea of understanding that you're all one. And so if you are all one, by you creating your dream world, you create the dream world for others as well, because they see your dream world and they're affected by it. And they see your ability to create that dream world and they are affected by that. And they understand, I can do the same thing. And this is your power. This is your power of creation. And this is one of the reasons that you've come down here, to understand that, especially in these heightened times, your holiday times, your seasonal times. What a great time. This is a holiday time on your planet. Not just this time, not just these few weeks that you're in at this moment, but this time, this past 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20 years. This is the celebration time. This is the holiday time. This is the time of learning. This is the time when you can really hone your skills to understand how to create on this planet. It is a beautiful time indeed. All right. Whew. So TT Tracy say Debussy. Yeah, Debussy. I'm a big fan of Debussy. Satie. Yeah, I love Satie. The Nocturnes. Yeah. Guess I've gone mellow. Solo cello, guitar, piano. Yeah, me too. I love solo cello music. Yeah. And guitar music. Yeah. I have no choice. I gotta love it. Yeah. I think for me, what happened a few years ago, 2019, 2018, when I had kind of like I guess like the awakening sort of thing, my own awakening, I really got into Tom Kenyon, and his music really did what I had been looking for the longest time. Like that's what I wanted music to do what he did, to touch places like in your soul that usually aren't touched. And that's, yeah. So Tom Kenyon, I'm really, he's an amazing composer. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there you go. He's an amazing composer. He's really pulling down higher dimensional material into this planet, and it's just, yeah, it's really amazing stuff. But yeah, so yeah. TT Trace agreed. The Hathors, yeah. I mean, it's just beautiful. What he was doing, just it's so moving in a way that's so hard to describe. In a way that I haven't been moved. Had never been moved. I was trying to write music like that would touch certain things, but like it was so direct when he wrote it. It was just amazing. Anyway, I'm gonna so just these, I guess, these holiday daily doses of hope, I'm gonna try to keep them kind of short. Wow, it's quite long. I'm blabbering on again. Thanks for joining me in my blabbering. I hope you guys are hopeful. Keone, it was good to see you. TT Tracy, it's good to see you as well. I hope you guys are hopeful. Hope you're enjoying your season, staying in that middle path, trying not to get too caught up in all that stuff that's going on, and just trying to see it as the story that it is, like me and my meditations, those clouds in the sky, that deep low bass sound that's coming, and just all the other stuff. And it's just like, this is here for me. This is here to teach me something. These are the story, so I mean, and by saying that, I mean that I'm not perfect at all, and I'm struggling with this, and I'm going through my meditations to stay in that path, because it is a struggle in these times. So, but anyway, I hope you guys are hopeful, and hopefully I will see you all tomorrow. So ciao for now.